I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com, and this is my Smart American Accent training. Welcome to our Friday free live American accent class. We meet each Friday at 12 o'clock Pacific time to answer your questions regarding American English pronunciation, intonation, and everything to do with the American accent. We always have a topic that we talk about in class, and I take your questions, so please feel free to put those questions in chat at any time, and I'm happy to answer them. If you're viewing us on Facebook, you should jump over to the YouTube broadcast if you have questions, if you'd like to put those in the chat, since I can't monitor both broadcasts at the same time. But welcome to all of you Facebook and YouTube viewers. Thank you so much for coming to class. It's been great exploring the American accent with you and answering your questions. So today I want to talk about spelling versus sounds in American English. Last week we looked at the letter O, and we talked about the different vowel sounds that O can make. So O does not always say O in American English, as you now know. And today I'd like to do the same thing and talk about the letter A and the different sounds that letter A can make in different words. I think this is really useful for pronunciation and also for beginning to understand how vowels work in American English. Many times spelling does not match what the vowel sounds are, and it can be quite confusing to know what sound to make and how to make it. So I'm going to give you some help and resources for that. And I will, again, as I said, take your questions regarding that. I also just want to let you know a couple of announcements. I do have a website, speechmodification.com. If you haven't checked that out yet, there's quite a few free resources and lessons on there for you, as well as some online courses. And you can get information about American accent training here in Seattle and also worldwide, working with me one-on-one and getting some specific help for your accent. I also just started a new Facebook group. So I do have a Facebook page, and many of you view my videos on that page, use those resources, and I'm very happy for all the tremendous support I have on Facebook. But I also suggest checking out my new Facebook group, which is a learning group. And so on that group, I'm able to post lessons and resources that you can download. So it gives me some capabilities that my Facebook page doesn't have. So if you're watching on Facebook or even on YouTube, you can jump over to that new Facebook group and join it, and then you'll be able to access those resources as well. So I'm going to put the link for that here in the chat for the YouTube viewers. And those of you watching on Facebook, if you go click on the page for speech modification, you'll see the button to join the group, and then you can find out more. So that's it for those announcements. I will also talk a little bit later in the broadcast about some upcoming opportunities here in Seattle. I'll be at the Bellevue Tech Expo in a couple of weeks, so you can come meet me and try out some materials, get a free speech screening, and join us for that. So I hope that you'll be able to do that as well. The link for more information about the Bellevue Tech Expo is here and on my website, speechmodification.com. So let's get to talking about vowels. And as I said, please feel free to ask your questions at any time. I will monitor the chat and make sure that I answer those for you. So let's look at the letter A in English. And I want to just look at some example words. So when we see the letter A, we think of the sound A because that's how we label the letter. And we think of the sound that I like to spell like this, A or A. So the letter A does make the A vowel sound in many words. So words like day and rain, name, and explain, all of those have the A vowel. In the IPA symbols in American English, we write that vowel like this, A. And you can find out more information about A on my vowels playlist. I have some videos telling you about common error patterns for this vowel. But what I want to focus on more today is the spelling of the letter A and some other sounds it makes besides this A sound. Many of these words you're saying correctly, you're aware of that vowel sound. But letter A can also say many other sounds. So letter A does not say A in words like across or about or after or says or was. So in all of these words, we have the letter A, but we have different vowel sounds. And this is where it can be quite confusing to understand what vowel you should be trying to say. And so we'll look at some examples for each of these vowel sounds to help you. So for example, in the word across, the letter A actually says vowel schwa. And so the vowel schwa is written like this when it's in the unstressed position, just like it is in words like across and about and above. Many times when the A is at the beginning of the word, it's not in the stressed syllable. So for all of these words, the second syllable gets stressed and the first syllable is short and reduced. So it's not a or a cross, it's across. It sounds like a. The most important thing in pronouncing these words is to make sure that you're long and stressed on the second syllable and that you're just touching that first syllable lightly and quickly. Across, above, about. Sounds like a. So that's one of the vowels that the letter A can say that you might not have been aware of. And this is a common error in pronunciation. We see the letter A and we try to make more of an A-type vowel. Faith has a question. How should we say this a sound in daily speed conversation? So if we're talking about the vowel a, letter A often also says a. So I'll address your question as I'm talking about that vowel sound. So in words like ask and answer, and I like to use the phrase black cat to help me remember this vowel sound. The A in these words all says a. And how we say this vowel sound is consistent. I'm always going to be making an a vowel with my mouth fairly open and my tongue forward. The errors that we can tend to have on the a vowel is that we might have a tendency to say it more like ah. And in British English, some of these words, they have a different vowel that they use. So they're not saying ask and answer. They say it more like ask and answer. They use this vowel, which is not a vowel that we have in American English. So to answer your question, when we're in fluent speech, when we're connecting words, this vowel, the important thing to note is that it's a lax vowel, but it can certainly be stressed. If I'm talking about a black cat, I asked the black cat to answer my question. My vowel is consistently a in all of those words. The length of the vowel depends on whether or not a word is stressed, but you can be consistent with producing the a in all of those contexts. The only difference I would say is that in fluent speech on the word and, I typically don't say cat and dog with a clear a vowel. That's one that tends to get reduced to more of a cat and dog, or an F vowel. She and I, and instead of and. And that's an example of speech reduction. But for most cases where the word is stressed, the vowel a is consistent. So we have letter A saying a. We have letter A saying like across and above. We have letter A saying a, like ask and answer and black cat. Unfortunately, there are even more, even more vowels that letter A can say. So another vowel that letter A can say is the ah sound. The symbol for ah looks like this. And some example words for ah are words like water, law, wash and want. And this ah vowel, I call it the caught law vowel, is a rounded vowel. My lips are round and my tongue is further back. So when I say ah, it's different than and it's different than ah. So I want to think about having lip rounding and my mouth is not too far open. You can get help for each individual vowel, learning which words have the vowel, how to pronounce it, what error patterns you might have on my vowels playlist, or if you use the search tools either on my website or on Speech Modification Seattle, just type in any word you're looking for, any vowel sound you're looking for, and the lessons and videos relating to that will come up. So in this class, I'm trying to give you an overview of all of the different things that letter A can say, but you may find it difficult to pronounce these different vowels, and you may want to look specifically at more information for those particular vowel sounds. So I will suggest resources for that as well. So we have A saying and ah. We also can have other vowels that this letter A can say. And so how do I know which vowel to say? Well, first of all, if you study American accent with the SMART methodology from speech modification, you'll learn the most common words that have each vowel sound. So as you're working on vowel ah, for example, you'll have lessons and exercises to help you know which words are pronounced with vowel ah. And you'll also know which vowel sounds you tend to have errors on based on your native language. And so you can begin to solidify these new vowels and understand where they commonly come up. But sometimes there's going to be words that aren't as frequently used or where it's hard for you to hear or notice what vowel sound it is. And for that, I recommend the Oxford Learner's Dictionary. I have it bookmarked here on my phone. And so I'm going to just show you if I'm out and about somewhere and I come across a word and I'm not sure what the vowel is, I will go to the Oxford Learner's Dictionary. Make sure you get learnersdictionaries.com. You can find more information about using the dictionary in my videos and also on speechmodification.com. And I can just type in the box the word that I'm looking for. So for example, let's just look at a word with A. How about the word association? This is a common word, but maybe not as common as, so I'm going to go down until I get to association. It's not as common as ask or answer or have or had. And I'm going to see that in the dictionary, they show me the pronunciation with these symbols. And so you maybe have used dictionaries before and haven't really been sure how to read those symbols. I like this dictionary because it uses IPA, which is the International Phonetic Alphabet. And so if you use my videos to learn about vowel sounds, I'm going to be showing you the symbols like we just did earlier in class. And so when I look at association, I can see British and North American English pronunciations, and there's two for each. But for all of them, the letter A, the first sound in the word, is there, my upside down E symbol, which is the schwa, the sound. So I know it should be association, and the stress comes later in the word on the so and the ation. I can also listen to it.
Association.
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 And I can hear those vowels and start to internalize, yes, A in association says the sound. It's unstressed association. One of our viewers says that she uses the Longman American Dictionary. I'm not familiar with that one, and many dictionaries are good, have good pronunciation. They just will sometimes have their own pronunciation guide. And it doesn't matter if you're used to using a certain dictionary, as long as you know what the symbols mean and what the sounds are for those symbols, then that will be a helpful tool for you. I typically, for people who haven't begun using a dictionary, recommend Oxford Learners because it uses IPA And so the symbols you'll learn there are consistent with the ones that I use when I'm talking about vowel sounds and symbols. Faith also says, also, I can't hear that word when native speakers use in their sentences. The A, I mean like in association. So you're saying it's difficult for you to hear the sound when you're listening to native speakers, I think. And that may simply be because it's an unstressed sound. And so it's a short part of the word. And the most important thing is to be stressing the correct syllable. And sometimes worrying too much about the details of what vowel sound you're hearing can be challenging. So just thinking about trying to lightly touch that first syllable, associate, rather than pronouncing an A vowel there is the point of this exercise. Thank you for your comments and questions. So you can get more help for all of the different vowels of English, as well as specifically the vowels that letter A tends to represent on speechmodification.com. And Sam has a question, so go ahead and ask that whenever you're ready, Sam. And also, we cover vowels and how to pronounce and understand vowels in my vowels playlist on Speech Modification Seattle here on YouTube. And I also have some resources for you in my new Facebook group. So if you want to join that, you'll be able to access those lessons and downloads for learning. I also would like to ask you, if you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so. It helps me because it lets YouTube know that viewers want to see these kinds of classes and lessons. And so it makes the videos more visible on YouTube. And it also helps you because YouTube will notify you and show you my videos when they're new. So you'll get notifications and see that I'm holding a live class, or I've uploaded a new video, and you'll see those when you go to your homepage, or you can click on the notifications bell and YouTube will actually send you a little reminder or update when there's something new. So that's a good reason to subscribe to the channel, and if you enjoy the class, to be able to join future classes and get more information. So Sam wants to know about the short I vowel, and if I could break that down. So I'll give you some information about short I, and I tend to call that vowel I, which is the sound that it makes, and it's in words like pig and big. And the main error pattern that I tend to hear for this vowel is that people will substitute the E vowel that's in words like need and leave. And so you might be trying to say the word live, which looks like this in IPA, live, and it ends up sounding more like leave, which looks like this in IPA. And so the main difference between the I and the E is that the I is a lax vowel. My tongue is slightly lower when I produce this vowel sound, and my tongue is also lax, and it's pretty hard to feel that. So E versus I is not so easy to feel the distinction in my mouth. What I often recommend to people to be able to feel that better is to think about contrasting words and make sure that when you're saying something like leave, you feel that your tongue is tense, and you can also feel more of a smile or tension in your face. So leave versus live, my face is more lax and my tongue is more relaxed. The main thing that makes the acoustic difference is the position of my tongue, but I can use those facial muscles to help me make a difference between those two sounds. So you can see I have videos about producing vowel I, and then I also have videos which give you a lot of contrast words between, for example, it and eat, live and leave, ship and sheep. And so you may find it helpful to practice those kinds of contrasts and make sure that you can make that difference and that you can hear that difference. For a lot of people, initially hearing the difference is challenging. Many languages have a vowel have the E vowel and they don't have this lax version, the I vowel. And so your accent filter in listening will have you hear this vowel for both. And so when you can hear a native speaker making these contrasts, it begins to help your brain train the difference and hear the difference between it and eat. And then my online courses and videos also give you a lot of practice recommendations to begin to incorporate this I vowel into your speech. So check those out. Thank you for that's a very good question. Short I versus a vowel. Okay, so I think what you might also find helpful is taking a look at my vowels playlist and my overview videos and lessons about vowels. And so right now I was talking about the E versus the I, and I think you're probably talking about the A or the eh vowel. And it's all about the position of my tongue and how open my mouth is. So when I'm saying the I vowel, it's lax, but my mouth is not very open and my tongue is near the front. So I, like it, or let's try it with the word bit, B-I-T, has this vowel, and the word bet, B-E-T, has this vowel. And so the difference between I and eh is that my mouth is more open for eh. So bit versus bet, or bid versus bed. So it's all about the mouth position. And then I also have this tense vowel A in there. So you can see videos for the individual vowels as well as good contrast words on speechmodification.com. Just type in vowels when you get to the free practice and you'll see all the lessons. And also here on YouTube. So Faith has a question. Consonant sounds that become at or only ah in daily conversation. Am I right with that conversation? In that situation? You're very welcome, Sam. So Faith, I'm trying to understand what your question is. So you're saying, are you saying that if you use the word that the TH drops off or the end T drops off? Like, I think that's true. I know about that. I'm not sure exactly if that's what you're asking me, but in my experience, we typically say all of the parts of the word that in running speech. Yeah, so it's a good question, and I'll look into it and see if I can see a reduction that we do. I'm trying to use the word that while I'm talking to you to check my own speech for that phenomenon. And I may be a little bit more precise than some other native speakers that you hear, although I do have quite a bit of information and videos about reductions and changes that we make in fluent speech, and that's not one that I'm familiar with or that I've noticed. That doesn't mean it doesn't happen. So I will check up on that for you, and thank you for bringing it to my attention. Great. So yes, vowels are complicated. Spelling of vowels and vowel sounds, there's a lot of information to be had. A good starting place is to look at what vowels are different in your native language versus English, because these are the ones you're likely to have more errors on. And then also to start to orient to the vowel sounds rather than the vowel letters. And I have some lessons and videos to help you with that, as well as I have a free download on my website that you might enjoy that has this graphic for all of the vowel sounds. It has the symbols for the vowel sounds and anchor words and common spellings, the most frequent spellings for those words, as well as the most common words for each of the vowels. So if we look at, for example, the a vowel, the black cat vowel that we were just talking about, we can see that it's typically spelled with letter A, and that common words that have a are and, that, as, can, etc. And this gives me a good starting point for words I should be practicing and associating with this a vowel and the black cat sound. Or I can look at A, the gray day vowel and see, okay, that's typically spelled with just letter A or with AY or AI, and here's the most common words that have the A vowel. So this is a great resource for getting oriented to all of the vowel sounds, to hearing vowel contrasts where you might be making errors. You can get this for free on speechmodification.com. And also on my new Facebook group, I will be posting downloadable resources like this one that you can use as you're learning and working on your accent. So I do encourage you to join that group and to subscribe to the channel to be notified when we have free live classes. We'll be back again next week, and we'll continue talking about vowel sounds and spelling. And we'll probably look at letter E and some of the vowel sounds that E can say. If you have comments or questions and you're watching this video later, or you think of them after you've been after we've finished, you can go back and write them in the comments, and I'll let you know where you can find resources for those. So I appreciate all of the comments and questions today. Thank you for being a part of class, and I look forward to seeing you next Friday at 12 o'clock to talk more about American accent training and vowel sounds. I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com. Remember, if you want to sound American, you can do it. speechmodification.com.